Are you ready for some fun? Welcome to the wonderful world of Hilda Tarot. I'm really excited to share this with you. I have been coveting a Hilda deck for some time, and there's something just abundantly freeing about Hilda. And you would think that I'm a rather serious person. The stuff that I dive into, the tarot deep dives, all of the teaching content, the planetary and astrology stuff that I'm doing at this time. But to tell you the truth, sometimes we just need to let our hair down and have fun, and that's what I'm here to share with you today. Is this extraordinarily fun deck, and yeah, so we'll get into the cards in just a moment. Welcome. My name is Sadhana. I am a reader, a lover of tarot as a medium for healing and personal insight. I've been working with it for a long time. I'm a life coach, mentor, working with students and clients through some of their darkest days and healings physically, mentally, emotionally. And I don't have a lot of decks like this in my library because I just don't. And I've actually released a few of them because I found that kitschy decks just don't serve. But this one is just really, it really touches my heart, and I will explain to you why as we're going through the cards. And I'm going to be using this deck for myself, and I know a few clients that are really going to resonate with this artwork. So let me tell you a little bit. So this deck is created by Reese Marren, and the deck that I was coveting was a deck by Celestial Esther, I believe is her. Sorry, I do this all the time. By Celestial Esther, I believe, on Instagram. And the the older Hilda decks that are now out of print are referred to and mentioned in a link that is shared by Reese in the description box below. So if you're interested in Reese's process in creating this deck and her awareness of the other Hilda decks, you can read that in that link. Okay, so it's just below in the description box. And I also want to share with you just a couple of short sentences about Hilda, in case you don't know who Hilda is. Hilda is or was a pinup girl from the 1950s. And Hilda had a really long run of about 36 years. The creator's name is Duane, I was going to say Duane Myers, but it's Duane Bryers. And this is in the words of Duane Bryers. I got the idea for a plumpy gal pinup and thought I'd like to make it into a calendar series. But how was I going to sell a plump girl? The artist remarked of his character, who was notably larger than most pinups at the time. The character found a huge following and became a pinup calendar staple for over 36 years. I vaguely remember Hilda. I was born in the 60s, 70s. I was probably a little young to notice her. 80s, I was too busy. 90s, I was traveling. But I vaguely remember this. But there's something familiar and immensely, I don't know what it, like, I love it. I love the playfulness and the carefree energy of Hilda. Oh, and by the way, I have edged my deck in yellow. These are the card backs. And yeah, so this, if you're interested, this color is Dandelion. I used the Dewdrop Memento ink. All right. I also watched a walkthrough of the Gingham Back deck by Celestial Esther, and I made a note, and I actually was kind of nerding out on this. I did a little card count, and there are very few same cards in this deck. So Reese has cleverly used different art. I think overall there is maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, 10 max cards that are the same as the other deck. Another thing too, she did a video unboxing when Reese received her sample deck just before this went to final print. She released an unboxing video, and I just watched it, and I really appreciate her earnestness, like the energy that was put into the creation of this deck, including the facings. So you'll notice here that the Fool is facing in the same direction as the Waite Smith Fool. There are changes, color changes to some of the cards, and some of the backgrounds have been bumped up, but it's really well done. And more than anything, I feel the lightness of this deck. I also want to say that there have been a few decks. One that's coming to mind is the Self-Love Tarot. And another one that I do use is Future Ancestor Tarot, where there is awareness of bodies being beautiful at all sizes. And I sold my Self-Love Tarot. I did not feel comfortable with it. And for some reason, this deck makes me feel very comfortable. So I don't know what it is, and I know it's not going to be for everyone, but it just feels, I really like it. I really like it. This is the first iteration of the deck, and Reese has the intention of keeping it in print, and there may very well be subtle changes moving forward, but this is what it is. I have no complaints. The other deck does not have numbers on it, which is interesting, and this one does have numbers, so that will be useful to some people. Yeah. So, yeah. Moon, bathtub, water, high priestess. Hilda is charming. She is playful. She is fun. Hi, Evelyn. It's been ages. Welcome. Yeah. And I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but it's something that's definitely needed from time to time. I'm just looking at the Emperor card and the mat. I don't know what it is about the mat, but the mat in a way feels like a throne or something. Yeah. And I'm sure that over time I love the fire. So we see the fire, energy of Mars, kind of energy in the Emperor. Reese has endeavored to authentically represent the energy of the elements in this deck. The Hierophant. The Teacher. The Sharing of Story. There are a few decks recently. I think my favorite Lover's card is still the one from the Tarot of the Strange Branches. And in this card, there is a woman who is lying in a meadow, wildflowers growing up around her, and she just has this look of love and elation in her face. And it's this idea of love of self, the love of one's whole self. And you really get this feeling in this card as well too. I have seen Chariots or Knights of Cups on surfboards before. It's fun. It's really fun. And it also shows a sense of strength. It shows a sense of strength. She's not falling off. She's actually doing really well. And if any of you've ever actually tried to surf, it is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. It is, and it's terrifying when you wipe out. She's chopping onions in the strength card. I think this is going to be really fun to build in story. One of the things I love to do when I'm doing a reading is to just begin to I find myself saying to the querent, let me tell you a story. And I love doing this when they are here in person, because I can take it away from the personal and with this deck make a really endearing story. We do see the dog featured in quite a few cards. Now, in the Waite-Smith deck, the dog is not in the Hermit card, but there's this profound connection between the Fool and the Hermit. They're both on the same journey, just a little bit further along. And I love that the dog is included in this card. Yeah. I love the color on this one, Reese, by the way. Yeah. The boomerang. A lot of, some of my favorite decks call Justice Karma. And the boomerang has come around and it looks like it's going to whack Hilda on the head. We do get our just reward. And sometimes we're not always aware of the big picture. You can see perhaps Hilda in the background. She was the one who actually threw the boomerang. So this card is a little deeper than it may appear. The Hanged Gal. Oh, there are some extra cards in this deck, and let me go back. No, I can show you right now. So you see the wheel that's here? This is an extra wheel. And I think I'm going to keep the one on the left in my deck. And the Hanged Gal. This is so funny. This is really funny. You can see her scathed knees, her scabby knees in another one as well, too. That sign says, this sign is upside down. It's really funny. I do like the playfulness of the one in the center, but actually this is hilarious. I might actually keep this one in. I'll need to think about that one. I'm going to take this one out because later I'm going to shuffle the cards and do a bit of a reading. We have 3 other extra cards as well too. Hopefully I remember to show you. Death. Death. And Hilda is crying here. You know what this reminds me of? She's going through old letters, old note cards and things like that. I remember when I moved here, I had a large trunk like this full of letters and diaries and very personal stuff from old boyfriends and lovers and some cards from my ex-husband. And I went through this process and I read everything. And then I had a fire and I burned everything. Yeah. Yes, I could leave all the extra cards in for sort of an expanded reading. Temperance is really funny, right? Reese talked about, no matter how much water she takes out, the water's going to leak in because the boat probably hasn't been maintained properly. But there's something here that's also kind of, she's in a boat that is filled with water in water. And in the alchemy of temperance, we are balancing elements. And I feel like there's a lot more that could be said in many of these cards. And it's going to take some time for it to unfold for me because I don't know this art really well. But I'm excited. I'm very excited to work with it. So here, it's funny. I just rewatched the way with that was produced by Emilia Estevez, and about the Camino. And it's funny because they were talking about going back to Pamplona for the running of the bulls. So here's Hilda teasing the bull and not really aware of the consequences. So very sort of fun take on the devil card. The tower, I know this moment only all too well. Toppled down a cement wall in my garden. I love this card. You know, I think if I had this card, I would put somewhere. There's something about this star card that just makes me feel good. Yeah. And you know what this deck also does? It makes me want to don a bikini again and say that it's okay. As little as, oh my goodness, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was wearing a bikini and then I stopped. Because, you know, a woman of a certain age doesn't. But this really makes me want to. The moon. And there's a little dog in the moon again. Yeah. The moon. And that also makes me think of burning things at full moon ceremonies. The sun is really beautiful. The sun is really beautiful. I really like the contrast between the wheat and the white of the sky. It's such a joyful card. Beautiful. And judgment. I haven't really looked at this card. Now, there must have been a series or a whole calendar that had Hilda in this outfit, because there's a lot of paintings with her in this in these red pajamas. Yeah. So here is Hilda. She is shampooing her hair. And the telephone is ringing. The kettle is probably boiling. She is in the process of becoming. And the world is beautiful. And in a way, I can see very much a world card there. I think this is one of the cards that is the same as the other deck. Maybe. Yes, it is. Yeah, it does. Even the position of the legs looks a lot like a world card. Okay, so I'm going to push those over. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and let's look at all of the minors, all of the aces together. I like looking at it this way. Sorry, the lighting is a little weird. The cards are white. I don't know why the lighting is that weird color. So Hilda was a pinup for 36 years. That's pretty enduring. And I read somewhere that one of the reasons perhaps Hilda wasn't as popular, I mean, obviously a plump pinup model, I shouldn't say obviously, stereotypically, unfortunately, pinups tended to be thin. I don't know what I'm saying here, but what the comment was that Duane wasn't necessarily great at making her face the same in every painting, and so she wasn't always recognizable. Like sometimes the faces would look different, and I thought that was an interesting observation. But man, I really I think this image as a pinup is just so powerful. We are still very much in a day and age where there is a striving for young girls to be thin. And I think she's beautiful. I really do. I love her hair. My goodness. Love the red hair. So these are the aces. And there is intentionally clear white around the aces. So we're at the beginning, we're at the seed of potential. You can see the elements are represented in each of the aces. And I believe in the Ace of Pentacles, she is throwing a cherry up in the air. I believe there's a bucket of cherries beside her. So she can use the seed from the cherry to do whatever she wants. Yeah. So, all right, let's have a look at the twos. Oh, why do I have the 8 of Wands there? Okay, let me fix that up for you. My goodness. Okay. I love the Two of Pentacles. I've never been in that situation, but I think it's just so comical. The Two of Swords, you know what that makes me think of is that the idea of we need to look both without and within, and using a divining rod is such an interesting metaphor for the two swords and the looking within and looking without. There's a lot of profound messages, I think, in the Cups cards about reflection and self-reflection. Threes build an energy. They are about expansion, about creativity. They build on the energy of the two. I really like the semaphore flags in the Three of Wands. Like she's calling it in. She's calling it in, making it happen. Three of Cups is an expression of joy. The Three of Swords. You know, there's in a lot of ways, the swords have... The Three of Swords is misunderstood. If you read the tarot numerologically and you think, okay, this is the expansive, creative energy of air, of thought, of voice. And yes, there can be anguish through it, but it's so much more than we see in the Waite-Smith deck, for example. I'm really sorry about the noise outside if you can hear it. Okay. And then we go to 4. So force, foundation, stability. And if you read, there's no guidebook that goes with these cards. If you've been reading the tarot for a while and you're looking for a deck that is, I don't know, just sometimes we need to let go. Sometimes we need to let go of how deeply we are studying the tarot. Sometimes we need to just have fun. And I really enjoy Hilda's take on life. That 4 of Wands reminds me of the kind of music I play often on Sunday mornings. And it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. turn on the tunes. 5 of Wands. She is banging that pot, shooing the crows away, trying to plant her garden. So 5 of Wands. Action. Chaos. Laura asks, is the dog inside the tree looking so sad in the 4 of Cups? Let me look at that. Yes, the dog is also mirroring Hilda's expression. But you know what? In a way, I feel that Hilda is protecting herself. 4 of Cups is a card, if you're reading it from a Waite Smith perspective and you're looking at it as the guy with his back up against the tree, not even noticing the cup that's being offered, sometimes we just need to be left alone, you know, and that is one way to interpret this. There's so many ways this card could be read. But yes, the dog is looking a little sad. And 5. So here's one where her face looks quite different. 5 of Swords. There is an extra card for the 5 of Swords. And in both of them, she's talking to the animals. So in the one that I'm showing you, she's, I believe, sending the little animals home. They're not coming on the picnic. So the use of words and language. And in this one, she's also talking to the animals. Six of Wands, first prize for her painting. 6 of Cups. What is she doing? She's holding up a photo of her naked self. That is hilarious. I really like the 6 of Swords. And Reese has gone to a lot of trouble. In some of the cards, there's been background added. Or so, for example, in the 4 of Cups with the tree, I believe that whole tree was painted on and added. And I believe the dock or the wood that she's paddling on, that was added to this or somehow changed. I haven't gone to see original artwork to see what's been done, but there are color changes, there are reversals of imagery. Some of her clothing has been changed as well too. Very clever card for the 6 of Pentacles. I like that a lot. Now, I've been staring at the 7 of Wands. Hilda is bending over, looking between her legs. She has a slingshot. And she is firing a slingshot upside down at a can on a post in the distance. And I don't quite get it. In the 7 of Cups, it looks like there's a bunch of little critters in here. Seven of Swords. She's throwing the book down, and it looks like she's abruptly taking off, leaving. So I think in some of these cards, I'm looking at some of the emojis that are on the screen. You know, some of them might take a little bit of time to make your own connection with. And you know what, Reese, I'm sure Reese would love to tell you her story of why she chose a particular card if you don't quite understand why it is. I really like the artwork in this card. This is the Eight of Cups. Yeah. Another thing that I might, Seven of Wands is like she's trying to do the impossible. I like that. I like the way that you worded that. Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking of something here I wanted to say. Oh, so if you go to the Fool card, the Fool card is the same scene as the Eight of Wands. So she has that autumnal bikini on. And I think there might be something really fun that comes out of similar cards from a same calendar series. There might be something you can do with that. Nine. So we're coming here to completion. And you know what I see here? I see the scene from Lucille Ball. Makes me happy. Makes me happy. So all of these cards are an abundance of their element. An abundance of the element. And the Nine of Wands, I think, is hilarious. So she's sucking in her tummy. She's standing behind the skinny little birch tree. And it's almost like the dog is making the same pose. I'm not sure what your take would be, or even my take would be on the Nine of Wands, but I think it's really funny. And it's almost like she has arrived. You know, look at where the boat is, and she's landed. Like she's good. She's good. Tens. You know what I like about these cards? Like, she's not trying to prove anything. She's very comfortable in her skin. I love the Ten of Swords. The bee is about to sting her on her butt. Yeah. The Ten of Cups is hilarious. I think those are little ducklings. All right. And then, so there was a lot of intention for the pages, for the court cards, in that the pages represent the playfulness, the openness, the curiosity to their element. The knights show a sense of adventure. Knights are active. They are questing. They're out there in the world. They are active. And Reese said, yeah, for sure, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands could be interchangeable. The Knight of Wands is jumping a fence with a butterfly net. The Knight of Swords is leaping across a body of water on a stick. And you can see the more receptive energy, the reflective energy of the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Pentacles is just sitting there eating a very large piece of watermelon. Yeah. The queens are all in their, let's just call it their PJs. They are all inside. So they are home on their throne. The Queen of Wands has an old-fashioned curling iron and is burning her hair while she reads a book that is called, let's see what it's called. It's called Spooky Stories. The Queen of Cups is having a foot bath, doing some serious self-care here. The Queen of Swords is trying to sew, trying to repair her garment. She's trying to thread a needle. And the Queen of Pentacles is reflecting on herself there. So they're all at home on their throne, doing their thing with that element. Oh my God, I love the King of Wands. This reminds me of me trying to play golf, and I want to say trying to have fun playing golf. As my partner reminds me, it's just about having fun. Yeah, and there are your other kings. It's really fun. Master of the element. Master of the element. And she is, looks like she's got an umbrella, and maybe she's whacking a mushroom, and then the mushroom spores are flying everywhere. Yeah. Okay. So, shall we shuffle the cards and do a quick 3 card? Cardstock is lovely. And if you weren't here at the beginning, I have edged my deck in yellow, and I will be doing a second coat. Tomorrow is a new moon. New moon in Virgo. Very late in the 3rd decan of Virgo. And so let's just ask Hilda what her message for us is for this new lunar cycle. I just need to shuffle a few more times. It's great cardstock. Okay. All right, Miss Hilda. I don't have the extra cards in. I did take out the extra cards. So Hermit is the first card. Be your own guiding light. You know, I love this kind of image. It's a reminder to trust in connection with the universe. To follow your heart, to always be exploring your journey. I told you I just rewatched The Way with Martin Sheen, produced by his son, Emilio Estevez, who is also in the movie. And there's just something about, and I think this card embodies the energy of Hilda, right? Just, what's that expression, beat to your own drum. Oh my God, I really like this message. And I get my favorite card. Okay. So, whether it is day or it is night, you have a choice, right? To find connection, to feel connection. And then sometimes we just need to lie down. But it's really beautiful. Look how Hilda is almost protected by all of those animals that surround her. To me, this message feels very like when I put all those 3 cards together. I'm reminded to be connected. That's what it feels like. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, take a deep breath in and soak in that message of the Ten of Pentacles and the Hermit and the Star, and take that with you. See if you can build that into your new moon intention for tomorrow. And I will see you all very soon. Take good care. Namaste. Oh, you want to see the backs again? Yes. These are the backs. And the... Okay. Good night.